Hello. In this lecture, we shall offer an easy informative entry into post-colonial theories, notably for master students in their transition from licence into master level. The lecture is about Edward Said's Orientalism. Edward Said is indeed one of the pillars of post-colonial thinking. So let us start with the following questions. What do we mean by stereotypes? Stereotypes are cliches. They are wrong fixed image about someone or about a group. What is the stereotype of the African? For instance, in the Western cultural production and imagination, the African is regarded as a savage, a brutish individual. He is a barbarian, a cannibal. This is how classical text or classic literature portrayed him. So even now, the African is synonymous with diseases, AIDS, Ebola, conflicts, wars. The Arab or the Muslim is also synonymous with terrorism in the West. They think that we are all the clones of Saddam Hussein and al-Khomeini, that we understand the language of violence only. Even Arab women, they think that in the West that Arab women wear black from head to toes. If you say I am an Arab, they think that we have four wives. This is of course wrong. This is a cliche, a stereotype. So, Edward Said, in his book, criticizes this idea, these Orientalist axioms. Edward Said has been described as one of the founders of post-colonial studies. His works examine European colonialism in Asia and Africa. Much of the focus in both Orientalism and culture and imperialism is on the classical era of European imperialism and about literary interpretations of the colonized people, going back to Joseph Conrad and long before him. We all know that in Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness, Africans were represented as being devoid of culture and even language. They don't even speak language, they speak mumbo jumbo. They don't have a culture. This or these images, they were constructed by the West as a pretext to justify colonization. It's part of their mission civilisatrice. They justify their interventionism, imperialism, and colonialism. It's the white man burden to civilize us, to enlighten our darkness. In fact, Said's ideas started after or emerged after the Arab-Israeli wars. People, when they see Arabs winning the wars, they start asking themselves, how come such Bedouin nomadic people win a war against Israel and the United States? So Orientalist studies emerged again to understand this part of the world. Said's thinking has embraced some broad imperatives, notably to examine the historical production and motivations of Western discourses about the Orient in general and about Islam in particular. Said had also another important, more political commitment, an attempt to bring light and clarify the Palestinian struggle to regain a homeland. Orientalism, which was coined in 1978, means the study of the Orient, in this case East Asia and North Africa, by the Occident. Said's book discusses the manner in which historians, writers, artisans, and political scientists from the West have in various forms depicted the Orient in a rather patronizing and self-serving fashion. Specifically, the Orient has been portrayed as a society that is backward, brutish, underdeveloped, and in need of modern and Western enlightenment. We have a model of Western way of thinking and Western exotic representation of the Orient. Delacroix, in his painting, for instance, depicted women of Algiers as slaves, as harem. So this is the image the West is constructing about us, about Africans, and about Arabs, that women have no freedom, they are nothing but slaves. This is, of course, wrong. It is an exotic point of view. So, the Occident knows nothing about the East, about the Orient. All what they know is nothing but the tip of the iceberg. So, on the other hand, the Occident is seen as culturally advanced, greater, sensible, rational, and exceptional. These false fabrications of the Orient are then continuously reinforced through various forms of artistic works by the Orientalist, such as Heart of Darkness or Victor Hugo Les Orientalistes, which explained that the aim of Europe in the 19th century was to make a man of the blacks and civilize old Africa. There are scholarly articles such as the one published by The Economist entitled Africa, the Hopeless Continent, and also movies and cinema that depict Africans as savages who know nothing about civilization, such as Tarzan, the white man, who can beat Africans and live in the jungle, which is of course wrong. So, Said is regarded as the originator of colonial discourse theory. He deploys Michel Foucault's notion of discourse to accomplish his project in Orientalism and emphasizes Foucault's notion of discourse and its relation to power. So, text, images, discourse has the power or the power to keep the Orient in an inferior position to the West. So they use discourse or the power of the written word, the power of discourse to keep us inferior. So texts create not only knowledge but come to constitute our reality through their power of description. Therefore, in relation to what has been said so far, we may put Said's Orientalism as follows. A. It is a system of representation of the East and the Orient. B. A repertoire of images and attitudes and ways of seeing, consisting of recurrent stereotypes within Orientalist writing in the West. All in all, Said in his book examines the processes by which the Orient was and continues to be constructed in European thinking and imagination. Said argues that Orientalism is a style of thought based on ontological and epistemological distinction between the Orient and the Occident. But most broadly, Said presents Orientalism as an institution for dealing with the Orient, dealing with it by describing it, viewing it, teaching it, settling it, ruling over it. In short, Orientalism as Western style for dominating, restructuring, and having authority over the Orient. So, I will provide you with two links in the description box. You have to watch them and do the activity or the project work later. The first one is about Edward Said on Orientalism. The second one about how Hollywood vilifies people. So after watching the videos, I want you to choose an artistic work that demonises and vilifies the Orient or Africa. You have to examine it using Said's ideas. Thank you so much. I hope it is clear. See you next time.